One important thing that helped me, what was shared by one of my managers, Joe, was the importance of ownership. Anything you're doing, own it. Back then, when we're still in the term team and my merchant has an issue, maybe has a chargeback. I don't do chargeback. It's supposed to be done by the chargeback team. So I'm just supposed to receive the request, analyze it, and pass it on to the chargeback team to help execute. However, what she made us understand in the team then was this is not just enough. You need to own it. Now you have to be the project manager of that task. By following up with that team, keeping them to their SLA, because should you leave it to them, they will delay their SLA, which will impact or tacitly affect your own SLA to your merchant. So own it, keep checking in on them, pressurize them to get what you want fast, get it, and then you deliver it. In that way, you're able to always deliver success. Not the things Flutterwave used to do back then is whenever there's a new employee, they make you work out of the customer support team for 2 weeks, regardless of your role, just so you're able to understand what we are building. Whatever I'm going to do as my compliance is going to impact this customer here. Whatever I'm building as a designer, if what I'm designing is not really nice enough, it's going to affect the UI or the UX or whoever is using the product, right? So whatever you do, it impacts customers.
I like what that sort of helps you do. It makes you internalize or put your work into perspective a bit more, right? You know that whatever thing you are working on right now, it has a bigger impact that you might not even directly be looking at.
For engineers, I would say that ability for them to be able to think beyond the code, that is not just for product code. Some engineers do not have product empathy, i.e., they don't know the implication of what they are building, how it's affecting other teams. So you need to understand this, and it's going to really stand out. It's worked for a lot of people I've seen at Flutterwave, i.e., understanding the impact of an issue. Reach out to an engineer that, oh, this is an hotfix for you to do this. The engineer might not understand that this is impacting one of their highest revenue merchants. They just see it as something they have to fix.
Are there other non-technical or non-hard skills that you think everybody should have if they want to do well at work?
Interpersonal skills is very important. Seems underrated, but very important. There are some people that are very, very good at their job, but their interpersonal skills is bad. At the end of the day, company is a team where you've been hired to do X thing, and your X thing you're doing would often relate with another person's X task. So you need to be able to work together as a team. Almost all the top companies in the world, when you check to their culture or their core values, there's something there promoting team collaboration. It's very important. The other one is communication. You should be able to communicate clearly. Let it be known that Emeka said he can deliver this in 1 week, but Kolapo is saying it will take him 10 days. It's there already. So because that is what now they're going to be able to judge you against. I noticed this happened with a lot of junior engineers. For me, back then, my boss allowed me to be able to give timelines that she was able to hold me onto. But I've seen people where, maybe because of the fear of their bosses, right, they know this task will them 3 days, but like, oh, I can do this in 1 day. Then they overextend themselves, and at the end of the day, when they release it in that 1 day, the job or the feature or the task they've done is not their best. And they'll be judged against that, and also communicate reasonably. You shouldn't say, oh, a task that should averagely take you within half a day to a day, you're saying it's taking you a week, then nobody's going to take you serious, right? Another thing I will share with anybody, not just Flutterwave, in engineering or a junior engineer or a junior staff, is for them to be grounded in fundamentals. With the advent of AI now, lots of tools are coming in. Tools will change, but strong fundamentals and how you understand what a system is would always matter.
Our crafter for today is Kolapo Kolawole. Kolapo is a senior payment operations specialist at Rafiki, where he works at the intersection of payments and product strategy, helping to build and scale reliable payment systems across Africa. Before joining Rafiki, Kolapo spent nearly 6 years at Flutterwave, holding roles across customer success, product, and technical operations. His time there culminated in a leadership position where he drove payment optimization efforts across the continent. While his career might seem non-linear, moving from customer success to products and engineering and now operations and strategy, it's been anything but accidental. In 2021, Kolapo had a clear realization. He wanted to grow into the kind of operator who could one day thrive in a COO role. That insight shaped everything that followed. And today we talk about that non-linear journey to becoming a tech operator, how he took a pay cut to pursue his passion and how that paid off, the value of ownership, communication, and collaboration across departments, why curiosity beats clout and titles don't always reflect mastery, his lessons from Flutterwave's early team culture and how it enabled rapid learning, We also talked about what strategy actually means and how his time as a staff engineer at Flutterwave informs his new role now in ops and strategy. He also shared some advice around investing in yourself, wielding AI, and playing the long game. As you go through the episode, please drop comments, like, subscribe, and share with someone in your network who might find this useful. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy. Kolapo, I'm really excited to dig into, various things today, but more excited to actually hear about your journey so far. You started out at Flutterwave from customer success specialist and growing into engineering leadership within a 5-6 year period. First of all, that's mind blowing. But did you already have some sort of engineering experience? How did all of that happen?
No, no engineering experience to answer that. So I studied geography, political science in uni, and I've always just been in love with technical things, right? And actually, in uni, I wanted to study accounting because I schooled University of Ghana. I wasn't able to because of WAEC results. So the way it is in Ghana is they use more of your degrees, your WAEC score to determine the course that is applicable to you, not necessarily what you want. So after uni, I had a short stint at Page Financials, but I didn't really enjoy working there at the time. And I got a position for Flutterwave, right? In fact, when I joined Flutterwave, I took a pay cut for my current job to join Flutterwave because I was just interested. I was intrigued by it. That was when payment and fintech. So like, I knew there was a pay stack. I need Flutter, and I'm like, okay, I'm interested in these guys, right? And so I joined. When I joined, the role I interviewed for was supposed to be for customer experience. So Flutterwave has customer experience, that's people that answer the inbound and make outbound calls and reply to mails. And then we had the customer success that handled the how do I put it? They handled the enterprise merchant, enterprise business part of it, like the big merchants, the big guys then, right? Like the Ubers and co. So I joined that team instead of the customer experience. So from there, I had a few. I would work closely a bit with the COO at the time of Flutterwave, and I was really interested in the old COO role. And I think I had a chat with her one period, and I was like, operations, chief operations, like what does it entail? And then she told me, oh, not necessarily, but then it's best you have knowledge in engineering, you have in almost all the faceted path of a business operation. That makes you better able to handle that role. So ever since then, I've really been like, okay, you know what? I want to be an operator. I want to be able to go into this maybe sometime in the future, right? And that's when you look at my career path, it's Flutterwave and currently where I am, it's a bit non-linear compared to other careers where it's like, okay, engineering, then VOM or operations VOM. So I've gone to customer success, done products, engineering. Now I'm doing ops and strategy where I am now, right? And I just realized that I really wanted to operate at that level of COO and then to do that effectively in the fintech space, I knew I had to like have this broad exposure in these roles. And being a startup, one of the benefits of a growing startup is it gives you high flying employees or staff opportunity to be able to vertically move across the business, right? So you're able to show capacity in this regard, then move there. The team lead wants you there, you go there, you work there. And for you as an individual, you getting to build yourself and get better. And I, for one, have always been of person of even when I tell people that used to report to me back then that anything worth doing is worth doing well, right? And whatever you're doing, don't see it as I'm doing it for X company or Y company. Because you're also doing it for yourself. Let it be known that when Kolapo does this, you know the Kolapo did this, right? Compared to oh, just anybody did it. So let's put in your best foot at whatever you do. I think that also really helped me achieve what I wanted to, that is able to move across department and have like a fair knowledge, understanding work there, understand the processes of how they work. Yeah.
Mm. So it looks like, first of all, there are some things that there are a couple of things that stood out. One is figuring out what you want to do, but also being able to join somewhere and learn fast. But you also looks like you mentioned this, in passing, but it's also very interesting, which is that you took a pay cut while trying to, join a company where you thought you might grow. How might others think about, this, right? I feel like right now, if someone is trying to switch to another company, in their head they're
Yeah,
also sort of imagining a bigger pay,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
At what point do you think folks can figure out where it makes sense to maybe take a pay cut while joining a certain company? Like, what should they think about?
I think personally, first, and I'll go to broadly. Personally, what I thought of was passion and career trajectory, right? Do I really like what I'm doing? One question you ask yourself. Number two, because honestly, like it's always said, the grass is greener when you water it. It's not always on the other side, right? So now looking at the other side, I'm looking at, okay, this grass is looking lush and green. Do I want to go there? What they are doing, is this something I'm passionate about? Is this something I know that when I go, able to show capacity and grow there? Or am I just going for the money? Right. So you ask yourself these questions. And when I say this to people at times, they'd be like, oh, maybe I'm saying from a place of comfort, maybe because, oh, I'm comfortable, so I'm saying this. But when I made this decision of taking a pay cut, I wasn't this Kolapo most people now know. I was like still starting out my career. So it was from a place of not necessarily comfort, but like me just understanding that where I am at, I don't see myself really growing. Yes, I'll be able to work and then I won't get laid off or sacked, but then I'm not really, I wasn't happy what I'm doing at the time. So an opportunity of Flutterwave presented itself and I looked at that and I weighed my options. And Flutterwave said the only thing available at the time was an internship because by the way, I was a full staff where I was. So I left that role, the title, and then I came as an intern with a less pay, right? And the space of 18 months, I think I was started earning like 2x, 3x what I was earning, like where I left, right? And if I look at it retrospectively, I don't think I would have earned 3x what I was earning in 18 months where I was, right? So, but like at the end of the day, it sort of paid off for me. Paid off because it was something I was passionate about. It was a growing company, and I was also able to immerse myself and show capacity. And yes, we are all just, I was an intern. So give me the ability to be able to learn better on the job and move faster. And I'm very, very big with, some people call me nerd at times. I'm very big with like learning, picking up things, get acquiring skills. So I remember most times of my early days at Flutterwave, I stayed there till like 10, 11, primarily because of traffic, because I had to come to the mainland. But the period I was staying back then, you see me with engineering guys and like, this, how do you do this? Or you see me with somebody from Recon asking them question. Or, so how does this chargeback actually work? I'm seeing this mail, this partner is never this chargeback. What do you actually do? How do you act? How do you treat chargeback? So I have this informal conversations I have with colleagues and friends and just kept on building my knowledge base and making me really understand the business. So in less than 6, 7 months, I understood everything we were doing from the operation side and how to help our customers scale and get better, right? And that was part of everything from my career. You say, think then to customer success, then Flutterwave had a new. I remember back then, the CEO GB had a meeting with us in December 2020, they need to have a new team called technical account manager. Now, it's more like customer success, but more technical side of customer success, helping our enterprise merchant, the big merchants, understand use cases, technical use cases of what they're doing with us, how they can also get better, how they can scale. Because the idea is we're a processor, right? So in as much as merchant A using me is scaling and I'm their processor, I am also scaling, right? So all of that. Now you being the it's like me being the representative of X company at Flutterwave. So whatever is going to help that company, I'm doing that Flutterwave. So I'm able them to drive, make cases for them internally just so that the company thrives. Because once the company thrives and they process more with
Mm,
us, Flutterwave is thriving, right? So in all, I would say
mm,
you look at what you think is for you. I've advised a friend before. Last year, a friend wanted to make a career switch, change of job. And I told them, what do you want? Is it the money or passion where you're going to? And I was like, actually, it's the money. And I'm like, okay, yes, you can go for it. So there are different reasons why we do things, right? So not necessarily because, oh, Kolapo did a pay cut, it works for him, doesn't mean it's going to work for Emeka, right? So if it's a case of money that it's like, you say much value there, okay, I just want to work here at short time, get the money, and then move to something better. It's very fine for you today because at the end of the day, the company is looking out for himself. So we, the employees, or you as an employee, and also look out for yourself and know what you want to do, what you want to achieve.
I think something that has stood out, with how you've shared about your career so far was it does feel like, especially in hindsight, you were very proactive with the things that you wanted to do. Like you were very proactive with what you wanted for your career, right? You would be able to take a pay cut. When you moved to Flutterwave, you're able to work with vertical teams. You're
Yeah,
able to sort of reach out to managers whose team you wanted to work on. You're able to amass all of these skills where, as soon as the business needed it, felt like you already were well prepared for it. I think there's a lesson there around being able to. I think the saying is staying ready, so you don't have to get ready whenever something is needed.
yeah,
Um,
I agree.
but yeah, but thank you. It looks like generally the culture at Flutterwave, as you've mentioned, is a lot of investments in capacity building for its team. Are there any other things that stand out with how can someone be successful at Flutterwave, basically?
Right now that the team is now large, so back then, when it was just easy for you to be noticed, right? Because we're not a lot, so not a lot of workforce, so it's just easy. Once you do your thing, your managers are able to like notice you and then know what you're doing. But right now, there's a large team. The best thing is number one, like what I tell the guys reporting to me before I left, the team I was managing is always that anything we're doing is what doing well. This means just putting your best foot, right? Every time putting your best foot. And working in a company like Flutterwave, you're not just working, if you're an engineer, you're not just working with the engineering guys. So there are cases where you're interfacing with products, with operations, with recon, with compliance. And whenever you're interfacing with these guys, always take that opportunity for you to also like let people know that okay, yes, I'm worth it. I know what I'm doing here, right? And personally, continuous learning, right? You able to push yourself to learn more. Don't just get too comfortable because the fintech place is fast paced and compliance and regulations changes things as fast. A new regulation is released by central bank governor of a concerning country. Whether you're in engineering or any other team, it's going to impact one way or the other. So also learning, being on top of everything, trying to take in a lot of info as you can. And one important thing that helped me, what was shared by one of my managers, Joe, was the importance of ownership, right? Anything you're doing, own it. So say back then when we're still in the term team and my merchant has an issue, maybe he has a chargeback. Normally, I don't do chargeback. It's supposed to be done by the chargeback team. So I'm just supposed to receive the request, analyze it, and pass it on to the chargeback team to help execute. However, what she made us understand in the team then was this is not just enough. You need to own it, i.e., now if yes, you can deal it, you've passed to the right team to deal. Now you have to now be the project manager of that task by following up with that team, keep making them and keeping them to their SLA. Because should you leave it to them, they will delay their SLA, which will impact or tacitly affect your own SLA to your merchant. So own it, keep checking in on them, pressurize them to get what you want fast, get it, and then you deliver it. In that way, you're able to always deliver success to your merchants that you're serving. So I share this with everybody, regardless of the team you are in, right? Always own what you're doing, right? You're working on the task and the engineer are trying to integrate a new partner. Doing this, you need to work with the partnership team, the expansion team, the operations team to understand what you need to integrate. You need to also own this process by keeping them to their toes and also communicating, right? That is really important. A lot of engineers, one of the things I've noticed over time is with engineers is communication. A lot of engineers are not are not great at communicating, right? And at times it comes from, especially with junior engineers, it comes from, oh, I want to show that I can do it. Somebody's telling you, do this. Let them understand you have timelines. I can't do this at this set time. It's okay to push back rather than committing to 1 week with someone and you end up delivering like 3 weeks. At the end of the day, 3 weeks is the right time for you to do it. But because you committed 1 week, you'll be judged by that 1 week. And that's going to count against you. So you learn to communicate clearly, like always let them know that this is the time that's going to be fun for me, right? And that thing I will share with anybody, not just Flutterwave in engineering or in junior engineer or a junior staff is for us to be grounded in, for them to be grounded in fundamentals, i.e., with the advent of AI now, lots of tools are coming in. Tools will change, but strong fundamentals and how you understand what a system is would always matter. Some engineers do not have product empathy, i.e., they don't know the implication of what they are building, how it's affecting other teams. So you need to understand this, and it's going to really stand out. It's worked for a lot of people I've seen at Flutterwave, i.e., understanding the impacts of an issue. Reach out to an engineer that, oh, this is an hot fix for you to do this. The engineer might not understand that this is impacting one of their highest revenue merchants. They just see it as something they have to fix. But you need to also drum this to them so they get to say this, right? And there's something I saw recently when I was reading. It was termed curiosity over clout for employees, right? And i.e., be curious about what you want to do, be curious about what needs to be done. Don't just because you want to communicate, just be like all over people's faces for cloud's sake and all of that. Yes, that would get people to know you more, but then at the end of the day, it's more about the work you get to do, right? And then don't just this most people when I say this, some people find it somewhere, even my friends, and that says titles, right? Titles titles matter, but they do not really matter. I.e., I've seen some people career journey where, yes, you just started engineering and then you're like, it's or you roll, you're 2 years in it, and the next thing probably we're saying CTO or CTO title on your LinkedIn or trying to just like show this title, right? Whereas you've not really mastered the thing. So mastery is really important. You getting to understand what you're doing because and mastery is layered. Like if you see my non-linear but intentional career journey with Flutterwave has been me just trying to grow different roles, and moving and growing in them. Right now, when I'm picking from all of these things, I'm getting to pick out knowledge because each role is adding a layer of knowledge to what you already have. So importantly, we should just sort of skip foundational experience when you're growing, right? In ops of title. Finally, cross-functional exposure, which is what I said earlier working with other teams, right? It's really important. It allows you to be able to have full insight of what needs to be done, what the use case is, the impact or the implication of what you're helping to build and what you're doing. That really counts too.
So you've mentioned a bunch of core skills, which, I've sort of resonated with, but I've also heard also from the, seniors that I've spoken with across other domains actually mentioned.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, cross collaboration, you've mentioned continuous learning, you've mentioned extreme ownership, and you've mentioned being able to communicate and communicate clearly, but also you've mentioned grounded in the fundamentals. I was at a fireside chat last week where the senior engineer at Airbnb sort of hit on the importance of being grounded in the fundamentals, especially with AI and what AI is able to do right now. Curiosity over clout, definitely over index on learning versus, just shouting everywhere. And
Yeah.
this also ties into the point that you mentioned about, titles are great, but like I have you learned, do you know the things that are able to back this title that you've just added to your name? A bunch of lessons there. Thank you for sharing that,
Welcome.
Kolakwa. So
Welcome.
shifting gears a bit from your work at Flutterwave and right now at Nala where you lead sort of operations and strategy, can you tell us a bit about what that role is right now at Nala?
Yeah. Nala is a remittance right? The remittance product, remittance business, and part of Nala's expansion, we're having new products called Rafiki, which is we're still building out, which is going to be like more of our payout engine. So Rafiki is helping to power the payout operations of Nala, right? Now, because we're just building that out, now me coming in with as payment operations lead is to help fine-tune our payment operations processes and helping us scale better because now that is part of the core of what Rafiki is about, payouts. Now, what that entails is we have multiple partners per market. one of the big things now we can see in the industry with payments is there are a lot of people doing the same thing, almost like a rinse and repeat. Everybody's doing the same thing. Now, implication of that is making pricing more steep. So pricing is nearly close now to each other, right? So the next thing that is going to really be big, which is currently being big now, is reliability. You need to be able to push your partners and ensure that you're able to get reliable partners because that is what you can sell now to make you stand out from other competitors. There are lots of competitors in the market, lots of players in the market that's offering the same thing. What you can now offer as an edge case is saying, you know what, you want to send money to Nigeria, I can process it for you. I'll process this within 15 seconds. You can hold me to that. Yes, X person is charging you X naira. I'll also charge you this X naira. However, you can hold me to reliability. 5, 10 seconds your payouts get. And this is exclusive of downtimes and schedule maintenance, which is out of our control. Whereas what's in our control is in as much as the bank is available, your money is going to get to the person within X time frame, and you can monitor us to that. So now trying to push this, and I'm saying that these are kind of conversations I've recently been having with some of our customers and merchants alike or partners, i.e., how can we get to scale this better? Yes, you're delivering a payout to me. I'm sending 1,000 payments to Emeka and 1,000 plus successfully. However, 20% of those payments got delivered like 30 minutes after. Bank transfers in Nigeria are near instant. Mobile money in African countries are near instant. So why is it taking you like 10, 20 minutes? So ability to be able to ensure that the system is delivering as expected. So measuring me with SLAs, the ETAs, and the max ETAs. And what's really helped me in this role is I think the fact that my prior experience with Flutterwave, cross-functional experience as well, and be technical, now making me understand and ask better questions and spot patterns when I'm discussing with partners now, right? Because now I'm not just looking at it from just payment operations lens. I'm also able to look at some engineering lens. You tell me, oh, I can do this, but I understand and I know if it's feasible or not because I've sat in that position with Flutterwave. And I'm the one that's always telling people I can do this, right? So now you come to me and tell me, oh, you want to send money to Ghana, I'll do it for you at say T plus one. And I'm like, why T plus one? Because I know this can be delivered near instant or this can be delivered same day. So now my past experience has been able to help me see the board clear. I'm seeing the whole picture of the board in terms of pricing, in terms of engineering, in terms of the infrastructure you also have and how this can be done, right? So I think all of that has really helped me. And with strategy, it's not just about just about the big ideas, but it's about the feasible big ideas, right? What is obtainable, right? You be able to optimize the flow from we're looking at the future now, trying to be able to optimize the from input to output, this is to be done. Again, able to look at the infrastructure of what is going to be layered upon, the architecture where you're also building able to have that lens. And all of this I'm saying is now involving cross-functional roles, and which is why my past experience has really helped me because I was looking at it before. My first intention was I want to be an operator. I want to be able to maybe sometime in the future sit in the COO role, right? And now have an encompassing view. But now in my current role, it's now really much very, very useful for me. I'm able to have engineering discussions with engineers of other partners. I'm able to have business decisions or business chats with partners, and I understand the value add in that. I'm able to also look at the operations team. In fact, some of our partners, I was recently having some calls, some of our partners, Photo even all that, and I was having calls with them. And I was telling them, oh, I want this, we want this done. But because I know what's obtainable, I know what's currently in the market, I know what the market is saying, it allows me able to let's say negotiate better and talk my talk when I'm talking with these people. I'm not just talking from a case of, oh, I think it's like this. I'm talking from a place of, I've been here, I've been at the other shoes, I've been at the other side, and I understand and I know for a fact that this is what this is. Right.
Mm,
So yeah, that has really helped me in my
mm.
role. Yeah.
Uh,
Zeroing in on your role in operations and strategy, right? Strategy feels like, when you say strategy, it almost feels like this code word that's tossed around in like leadership circles, where it's like, you're either strategic or not. You either know what strategy is or you don't know. There's no sort of in between. At the core, what have you learned that strategy actually means? So if I say, I'm in charge of strategy, what exactly am I saying?
So at the core, personally for me, at the core, strategy is you being able to make deliberate decisions that aligns with your team. Now, in my place, the company, because now what I'm doing is impacting the full company. So now being able to make deliberate decisions and choices that align with the team's capacity is very important. Now, strategy at a company like Google is going to differ from strategy at a company like Nala. Now, you need to now put in consideration the company's limited resources, the people, that's the resource, the engineers, the people, everybody, the time, the capital, right? All of these things is what you now consider. And when you're considering these things, you compare it to the opportunities available to you and the threats. Because there's opportunity and then there's cost in everything. Or what's the cost of you doing this? What's it going to cost you? But then what's the value add for you to do this? What's the opportunity you're seeing here? Say, for example, a fintech business is looking into going to card processing, right? And I'm a strategy lead. I'm trying to like look into that. Part of what I'm looking at the opportunity is going to card processing opens you up to a wider market globally because card is globally accepted as opposed to mobile money that is still limited and it's having niche areas. Like Africa is really big with mobile money. But in the UK, for example, there's nothing like mobile money. Even here in Nigeria, they have mobile money. But card is generally accepted. Now you're looking at that's the opportunity you have there. However, you also identify that there are threats to this, which is chargebacks. Now, within your team's capacity, are you going to be able to deal with these chargebacks? Are you able to attend to them? Are you able to effectively deal with them? So you look at that. Now, this threat or this challenge or this cost you're looking at, this is something that can also be put in place to fix it whenever they occur. Do you want to have a stronger compliance team? Do you want to have a risk team? Right. So all of this is part of strategy. Now looking at everything in a big broad picture of how it's going to impact your business, both positively and negatively. And it will be folly not to look at the negative parts of whatever future you're also going to, because as much as we're builders, we're trying to build and make things easier and also create value. There are also people on the sideline who are just looking to game the system, who are looking to disrupt whatever you're doing, right? We have scammers, we have all of these people. We have people that are just trying to game the system. So particularly, you also have to look at that line and look at how best can you be able to prepare for them. Yes, you can't 100% prepare for them, right? It should also be actually just to say you can cover all of that. You can't, but then you can put things in place to limit that, right? To mitigate it to a bare minimum. So that's when now I'm looking back to my example of card processing. Now I'm looking at I need to form a compliance team. I need a strong chargeback team. That's a dispute team. I need a risk team. So to be able to assess all of these things. Now again, when I'm selling my card products, the kind of businesses are also on board, I also need to look out for them. The high risk businesses. Yes, they'll give you the more money, but then they're high risk. Do you want to do that? People that are also not allowed to process, do you also want to be able to look out for them, make sure that nobody's coming through a different name, but then doing something different? That's where your compliance team would come in. So, a strategy, in a strategy position, you're looking at all of these things, not in the granular details, by the way, but then more of high level, but able to make deliberate choice and decisions that is going to align with current capability of your company, not just card is good, let's do it. But then have you looked inwardly at your company? Is this something your company can be able to do at this time? Right? Yeah.
And now that you sort of run the strategy and operations at Nala, would you say, or is there any specific, should I say, mindset or mental models from your engineering background that sort of shapes how you approach your work today?
Yes, yes, actually, yeah. The engineering background has really helped me. When I moved to engineering, allowed me to work in an agile space, right? The periodic sprint or 2 weeks planning of things. So right now, personally, whenever I'm being charged to, oh, hey, let's look into this. Currently, I'm working on a side project with my boss. Very soon, we're going to release a feature out to everyone. People are going to see what we're cooking. But at the moment, since we're still being cooked, we're still cooking. So it tells me, oh, Kolapo, I want us to do this, right? He's charged me to do that. Now, personally, for me, I have my board. I have it like a proper whiteboard at home, and then I like be able to put these things into perspective on my board and judging myself by sprint. Now, each sprint, what am I supposed to do in this sprint? My first sprint, I know sprint is just 2 weeks period and all of that. What do I want to do? I want to speak to XXX people to understand the use case here. I want to do market research to understand what's actually in this for us. Is this something that is going to add more value to us, or it's just going to cost us more resources? I know we're a growing startup. We recently just raised last year, right? And we don't have as much resource as other bigger startups are going to have. So when we are going into something, we need to be sure that there's expected value at the end of what we're doing, as opposed to just burning resources to that, right?
Mm,
So above all of these things, in my sprint as engineering comes in, I've been able to just fragmentalize things I need to get done in sprints, right?
mm,
And I go by it and also able to, okay, this week I need to talk to Emeka, I need to do this with this person, I need to get this done. So I have everything down and make sure that I have to be able to complete everything within this week, because if I don't, then it's going to spill over and affect the next sprint, the action items I have for the next sprint, right?
mm,
And another thing that's really helped me with engineering is actually with my previous role, not just engineering as engineering, but my previous role is that because I sat in the middle of payment itself at Flutterwave. Although, yeah, I was primarily the person for mobile money. So back then, we called it same routing and switching. They are involved in mobile money operate like all the routing or payment routing. But personally, my team where I was heading was mobile money inclined, i.e., everything that had to do with mobile money. Which partners should we use? What can this partner give us? That has been able to allow me understand what's obtainable in the market, what can be done, the limitations I know my engineers, current engineers and Nala will not be able to do. So things I'm able to tell them, oh, I think we can do this. Or how can we go about this? I'm also able to tell them, oh, my previous place, we went about this XXX. If we go XXX and just add a tweak to it, it's going to make it better, right? And then do all of that things. So it's allowing me function or work seamlessly, as opposed where I would have to start having to ask these questions with engineers from that limited time. Now I already have a base knowledge I'm able to work on. And for wherever I'm stuck, I'm able to ask any of the engineering leaders to internally. I'm like, oh, I have this idea. I'm thinking of what we're trying to build. How about we go this way? And then they tell me, oh, okay, yes, actually, this line is fine. This line is not fine, right? So yeah,
mm.
it's really coming handy.
This is more switching gears to advice for junior engineers. So, if you were starting your career again as an engineer and you wanted to grow as much as you have now, is there anything particularly that you would do differently? Or maybe a good way to think about this is there something you'd recommend junior engineers do to be able to grow as much as you have right now?
So I think I've sort of answered this partly in the earlier question when I was talking about the curiosity over cloud and all of that. I think one other thing again is the need to, because I speak with some people. In fact, I was talking to one of my cousins during the Eid celebrations about AI, and she was of the opinion that, oh, you know what? I I I want to work without I want to work by leaving AI aside. I don't want AI to influence or affect my thinking, and then I don't want to relegate my thinking for AI. Some people seem to have that mindset, even in the workplace, right? And she's still in uni, and I was telling her that it's not supposed to be like that. You're not relegating your mind for AI. Rather, the truth is AI is here and AI is here to stay. Now it's now about how are you what makes Kolapo stand out from someone that's not using AI is how you're able to wield, how Kolapo is able to wield and use AI effectively, right? Yes, as a junior engineer, bringing it back home, you're going to be fundamentals. You know the fundamentals, you know the basic principles. If whether you're a technical engineer that codes or you're an engineer that don't code just like me, but you're sitting in the middle of engineering team, right? Maybe you do QA and all of that. You need to be able to understand the fundamentals. Now, what AI would come is AI would make you work efficiently and more effectively, right? As opposed to someone without AI, where you won't be able to meet up. Now, if it's going to take Kolapo 10 minutes to be able to complete this task, you without AI, that might take you 2, 3 days. Because that is the influence and how impactful AI is now in the business. And I was listening to a podcast, forgotten, I was listening to that podcast recently, and one of the speakers there was talking about how AI is now affecting some entry roles in some organizations, some departments, some engineers, and some in the customer experience center too. I.e., most companies would rather just invest in an LLM software that is able to do the basic things as opposed to hiring interns or hiring junior staff. Now, and I was some the other speaker on that same podcast was like, this shouldn't mean junior engineers or junior people should fret. No. But rather take the opportunity for you to learn how to use these AI tools effectively, right? You learn how to use it. You also learn how to get better at some of the things you have to do. And this involves you having strong foundation. Once you have a strong foundation, you are now able to leverage the foundation you already have. So basic principle, we all know the rules of board mass. Now, because we know how board mass works and the principle of board mass, we're able to apply it to greater calculations. They give you, say, a quadratic equation to solve, and in the midst of solving quadratic equation, because you already understand how board mass works, or multiplication comes before addition, now you know how to take that step. Same way with work, right? You already understand the engineering, so you already understand the basic principle of certain things you have to do, you're doing. It's easy for you to now use AI because at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of threads on Twitter where people are showing the deficiency part of AI, maybe not knowing or having more context some issues, right? So you're not just copying it blindly, but you're just using these LLM tools to get better and refine whatever you have. So my advice to them would be don't see AI as an enemy, right? Bring them closer, understand it, be able to use them to work effectively. At the end of the day, they are here to stay. In the long term, they are here to stay. They've come in now and then they are just here to stay. In 2024, yeah, last 2023, started 2023, when I moved to engineering, sometimes I wanted to like learn better. I wanted to get the best out of Jira, that's Atlassian too. I took the exams actually for Jira. There's an Atlassian Academy where you get to pay money to write some exams about service management. This is like a personal story. Back then at Flutterwave did not have the service monitoring team like they do now back then. And I had my merchants telling me, oh, we're having downtimes. Why didn't you communicate to us? I had to only just send it to them via Slack or send it to email. But because I can't cover every merchant, it was at times I missed out some people. So my boss, when I told my boss, I was like, oh, think of anything we can choose about this, any of the two. I checked the internet, I saw status page by Atlassian 2. I worked with an engineer back then. We're able to come up with a page and we linked it to Slack, integrated it and just connected it. Now what that does is whenever there's a downtime, it notifies people. But then as I was going to Atlassian, then I saw Jira Service Management, I saw Jira, I saw Confluence. And I wanted to really like better understand them. So I took the course. I think I paid, was it 180 euros back then? In fact, I did the first test. I failed the first test. And I was pained by the amount of resources I invested into taking that paper and the money I've just lost. And what happened when I was writing that was it was like just almost like a session like this. However, I can't move my head like this. It's counting against me. So the way the system is, everything around me is being read. It's been observed. Before I started, I had to show them a view of my space for them to see how the space is. Nobody could enter my room. I couldn't talk to anybody, all of that. So there are times where there are noise because then I was at my parents' place, and there are noise maybe from neighbors outside, or so there are all those noises, and it's affected my ability, my performance with the score because that was being counted against me. Now, the second time when I knew about all of this, I went to a workspace and then I did it from there. I passed it, right? However, I've spent about almost close to 400, that's 360 euros, right? Taking the test twice. Now, the knowledge I've gathered from that, I was able to now bring that internally at Flutterwave. I used it with the tape. I use it to better our internal processes, use of Jira and all of that. And it's helping the team. The team is still using part of what I did and what I started out. The first set of things I did on Jira, how to optimize the teams. My teams are still using it even after I've left. So some of these impacts are things you should be able to do. Like you should try to encourage the junior engineer, i.e., at times invest in yourself because now the skills I've learned when I did this Jira thing, I'm out of Flutterwave now. I'm now at Nala. I'm here. I'm able to see apply same here because it's coming with me, right? And I'm also able to just show them this same value. So for
Mm.
junior engineers, I would say just really, really try to invest in yourself. That's really important. So yeah.
Got it. So, like the key lesson here is invest in yourself. Sometimes it will cost money, but you can yield a bunch of fruits later on.
Yeah.
Mentioned you've sort of pointed to some of these as we've spoken, but are there other non-technical skills that you think has really helped you in your career? So when I think of engineers, folks immediately sort of think, oh, you have to have strong engineering skills, which is obviously important. But are there other non-technical or non-hard skills that you think everybody should have if they want to do well at work?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, interpersonal skills is very important. Seems underrated, but very important. There are some people that are very, very good at their job, but their interpersonal skills is bad. They're not able to work with other people, they're not able to work in a team. And at the end of the day, company is a team. Some people call it family. It's not supposed to be a family. It's a team where you've been hired to do X thing, and your X thing you're doing would often relate with another person's X task. So you need to be able to work together as a team, which is part of almost all the top companies in the world. When you check to their culture or their core values, there's something there promoting team collaboration. It's very important, right? So that's collaboration. That is born out of interpersonal skills. You should be able to work with other people because in global companies, you're having different people of different race, different culture, different context and things, right? Should be able to like work with them. The other one is communication. Again, right? You should be able to communicate clearly. Communicate, oh, you know what? I can't deliver this. Let it be known that oh, Emeka said he can deliver this in 1 week, but Kolapo is saying it will take him 10 days. It's there already. So because that is what now they're going to be able to judge you against. They're going to be judged by the timeline you've given yourself. Don't feel pressured. I noticed this happened with a lot of junior engineers. For me, back then, my boss allowed me to be able to give timelines that she was able to hold me onto against, right? But I've seen people where maybe because of the fear of their bosses, right? They know this task with them 3 days, but like, oh, I can do this in 1 day. Then they overextend themselves. And at the end of the day, when they release it in that 1 day, the job or the feature or the task they've done is not their best. And they'll be judged against that. Like, I gave Kolapo this task, I submitted it this evening. It's not really that okay. But I gave it to X person gave it to me. They will never tell you the time. They're like, I gave Kolapo the task, his own, I didn't really like it. I gave another person, did it. And it was excellent. They wouldn't, the person when reporting this will not put on the factor of different timelines it took each person to deliver. So it's best to communicate and also communicate reasonably. You shouldn't say, oh, a task that should averagely take you within half a day to a day, you're saying it's taking a week, then nobody's gonna take you serious, right? So yeah, communicate respectfully as well. That's another one. Not just clearly now, respectfully. It's a workplace. You get to work with junior people, you get to work with senior people, and it's best that everybody has the same experience dealing with Kolapo. It shouldn't be that when a junior staff is dealing with Kolapo, like, oh, Kolapo can be rude, Kolapo is brash, Kolapo is this. Then the senior person saying, oh, Kolapo is so sweet. It shouldn't be like that. Everybody should be respected, should be able to communicate respectfully to everybody. So these skills as well. And don't just shut
Mm.
people off. I know some engineers who just shut you off. They don't really want to communicate to the world. Now I want to communicate to your boss. It shouldn't be like that. Engineer staff comes to you and be like, oh, what's the timeline for this? Oh, communicate to him or pass him to where you share the timeline on the Jira ticket. Or it's on the sprint. I have this sprint to complete. The sprint takes 2 weeks. So check with me back in 2 weeks' time. Now you've given them a clear timeline they can work with and come back. Right. So yeah, that's
Mm.
again for engineers, I would say that ability for them to be able to think beyond the code. That is not just put that code. I mentioned it earlier too. Look at the impact what you're doing is affecting the broader company. Just think of, oh, I need to integrate, I need to write a code for this. Not just that. What is the impact? Because at the end of the day, we're all customer obsessed, we're all customer focused. If it's not because of customer, then why are we building this product? We're not building it for our internal use, right? We're building it for the customers. It's customers that are going to use this feature and not us. So always consider that when you're building things and when you also have timelines that you need to do on task. Yeah, I'll say
Okay.
that.
So Tofumi has a question. I reached out to Tofumi to, get some questions from Tofumi. And so Tofumi says, you're great at communication, which is something that you've sort of emphasized on a lot today, and making clients, feel assured about their problems. So her
Yes.
question is, how did K-pop manage to do that while also communicating the limitations?
Hmm. Interesting. So I would say that one of the things I also learned early on was being transparent and open. So when I recently joined Nala, one of the questions I walked into an onboarding session of some new employees after I've been onboarded, and I heard the person telling them about because they're coming for the role of customer experience, customer support, telling them about. He asked them a question. He said, "Do you lie to merchants?" And some people are like, "Oh, if there's a need," and I'm like, if I'm to answer that, no, you don't lie to merchants. However, you can have controlled narrative, right? Say for example, Emeka makes a payment for me and it's pending longer than expected. And Emeka is really, really enraged and all of that. Or maybe a chargeback is supposed to be done has not been picked up by a chargeback team. You don't have to let this person know about the maybe the inefficiencies or some drop-offs within your organization. Now you are the person that's supposed to take all of this in and communicate to them. Now you don't have to lie to them, but you also have to tell them the real truth. So I call them controlled narrative. That is, you tell them that, oh, we have to empathize what's happened, and then you also now let them understand that this payment it's failing or it's the chargeback hasn't been complete or the payment is delayed. Try to look for something that's not going to really smear your business as well. So, say an example of a chargeback. Duly, you know that your team has a drop off. They forgot to pick up the chargeback, right? After you find out internally. Now I'm approaching a maker and I'm telling the maker that, oh, actually, you know what happened is chargeback typically takes 5 to 21 days. That's the normal business standard for chargebacks, card processing chargebacks. Let the person understand 5 to 21 days. However, seeing that this is taking so long, I'm happy to inform our processing partners to stop the chargeback processing. You provide me with a bank account number and we do a manual credit to your bank account. Now what you've done is you've solved two issues. Now to make now this end is like 5 to 21 days, that's why it hasn't gotten to me. Whereas the truth is the team has not even picked it up for the 5 to 21 days to start counting. But they're now proposing a new method by saying, you know what, instead of getting the money back to your card, give me your account number. I will have my team do a direct bank transfer to you. Now you do the direct bank transfer to you, get it instantly today. So I will tell you, so Mika, share your bank account details with me. We should get this before end of day today. So as soon as you send that to me internally, I'm going back to my disputes team. Let's say I understand that, oh, you guys have dropped this off. This merchant or partner or customer is really pissed. But I've been able to appease them, help process a payout directly to this bank account. So they process that payout. Now that refund you're supposed to get, right? The refund you're supposed to get, not even chargeback, the refund you're supposed to get would now be altered. They wouldn't process it via your card anymore. Instead of doing a card refund, then they're going to do a bank payout refund. Emeka will get the money. And because I know the process, I will come back to Emeka and be like, oh, the team has just informed that they've processed the payment to you. Kindly confirm you've gotten it. Apologies again for what has happened. Now, on the Emeka's side, he's seeing a customer representative, a customer support person that is that has really taken his matter on his head, like, oh, literally, oh, I have to solve this. Now he's going to be really amused by how fast he got to process his refunds back to him, right? Whereas what just happened is just Kolapo backline just managing two different things, the customer side and his internal operations side, and everybody lives happy. Now, Emeka would go and whenever he's singing the praise of whatever company that did that, he's going to mention, oh, can I even leave a review? Emeka is personally generous with words. Can I even leave a review and be like, oh, Kolapo from XX company was really great to me. Or Kolapo from Lala really did this. Or he helped me refund my refunds. Oh, thank you. Situation solved. Emeka is living happier than it came when it came to us, right? And then maternal operations seem to have kind of what they're supposed to do. So just about balancing and managing people effectively. And this skill really helped because when I joined Flutterwave, from customers, one of the things Flutterwave used to do back then, I'm not sure they still do that, is whenever there's a new employee, they make you work out of the customer support team for 2 weeks, regardless of your role, just so you're able to understand what we are building, understand the complaints that is coming, right? Understand that, oh, okay, so this is how it is. Whatever I'm going to do as my compliance is going to impact this customer here. Whatever I'm building as a designer, if what I'm designed is not really nice enough, it's going to affect the UI or the UX or whoever is using the product, right? So that culture really helped the team, helped new staff joining to almost see the bigger picture of regardless of the team you're joining in, whatever you do impacts customers. Yeah.
Got it. I like that what that sort of helps you do. It makes you internalize, or put your work into perspective a bit more, right? You know that whatever thing you're working on right now, it has a sort of bigger impact that you might not even directly be looking at. The
Yeah.
second question Tufumi asks is, and you've mentioned this already, what advice do you have on staying relevant and visible in the workplace? You mentioned that as, Flutterwave sort of expanded, it felt harder to be more as visible as it was, when you joined. How would you recommend that someone still tries to stay sort of relevant and visible in the workplace?
That would be you just making sure that whatever task you're doing the right things, you're putting your best foot forward every time. Because even you can do a work for a junior employee and they go around that informal talks with other colleagues, able to say that, oh, I enjoy when I escalate when my escalations goes to Kolapo. Kolapo does it well. Like people are just getting to informally just spreading that, right? So always put your best foot forward and also always show capacity. Whenever there's opportunity for you to be able to do something, you're there to pick it up. And that I think for me personally, what has helped is that ownership mentality. Now, any task you bring to me, yes, Kolakbo is not the person that's going to solve it fully. But because you've brought it to Kolakbo, I'm able to follow up with every single team responsible in the journey of solving that and making sure that everybody is able to pick it up as fast as possible for me, right? And interpersonal relationship really counts too. I not necessarily you trying to kiss ass or clout all of that. I do even like kissing ass, but you just being cordial and doing what you're supposed to do. Just get your work done out there, and whenever it's time, don't shy away from talking about what you've done when the opportunity arises. Oh yeah, I did this. Oh, I helped build this. Or when Fatai started, they didn't have this. I did this. I was one that was doing this, and all of that. Just being able to talk about what you do and talk about it well, not just surface level. For example, when Fatai started M-Pesa, that was mobile money in Kenya, I was part of the team that was in charge then, and I was still a TAM, but I was the person then just payment was a bit for granted, it was a bit monotonous and operational. We have to be punching a button, checking a balance before you valid give value. It wasn't this sweet. It was very ugly going to work. And I was in the middle of all of that, and I was doing that for the team at the time, right? The same sort of value what I was doing then. This time I was keeping a lot of spreadsheets, comparing statements we had with Safaricom Kenya, comparing it to what we have internally before you give value. I was having to do all of these things, right? And this is just me showing value. It wasn't part of what I was employed to do, but because I could do it and I had the time, I was like, okay, I can do this. And I did it effectively for the team till when Safaricom was able to give us an API where we are able to better connect them seamlessly, right? So stay relevant, just making sure that you're putting your best foot whatever time, regardless of where you're working for, a junior colleague and a senior colleague, just put your best foot forward. And then just be cordial. You don't have to be overly cordial, but in communicating to people, there's something that I picked up in Ghana. So with Ghanaians, with everything, they tend to say they use the word please a lot. I'll say, oh, please, can you give me this cup of water? Oh, please, can you do this for me? And because I schooled there and I stayed in Ghana for a longer period of time, because I'm sort of Afghanian as well. So it's sort of now added to how I communicate with people. It was not until I joined Nala, and part of the feedback I was getting was, why is it that I say please a lot when I was at Flutterwave to them? And I was like, how, it's just because of how I communicate. They're like, oh, they actually like it. But I'm just like, oh, please give me 10 minutes, I'll be back. Or kindly check this. I'm like, I'm used to just using these words, and I use it to everybody, regardless of who you are, right? I tell you, oh, kindly do this. I say to a junior employee, I tell my boss, oh, kindly help check this or review this. And at the end of the day, I'm now realizing that this thing is having great impact on everybody. Everybody feels I'm being respected. This guy is not just trash talking and just telling me, oh, get that. Like, he's communicating to me, and that has really helped. So I would say communicating really well, putting your best foot forward, right? Those two are really important to stay relevant.
Thank you, Kolapo. Is there anything you're working on that we should be on the lookout for? Where can we find you? Yeah, all those good stuff.
Yeah, so at the moment, recently just joined Nala, like we said. So hoping to build out more of the operation side and things at Rafiki. So you should look out for Rafiki. A lot of things are being is currently being cooked internally at Rafiki. Rafiki is a baby product of Nala, right? And you notice the name Nala Rafiki is from Lion King. So the CEO is a big fan. So yeah. So Nala Rafiki. In fact, there's an internal tool that is named Zazu. That's the wise monkey. Yeah. So, but
So
look at look,
this is a very Lion King themed company.
yeah. So look out for Rafiki. We're actually doing lots of interesting and good stuff currently, and very soon lots of them will be out there. And Nala, sadly for us in Nigeria, we are currently not able to use Nala or download Nala yet or interact with it because of regulators and want to be regulatory compliant. So it's more of Nigerians and diaspora that uses Nala, right? And we're also working on something on the Nala side that diasporas would see very soon on the app, and then also give them an extra value add to the product. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kolapo. Kolapo, this has been really fun. I can't thank you enough. There's a lot of knowledge here. I'm really excited to dig into them and share them publicly.
It's been great. I think this is something that is really going to really help the ecosystem, the young ones coming in, because at times you go on LinkedIn and then you see say shiny title, you see somebody's shiny career growth, but you don't understand the grunt work that has been put in it, right? The emotions and lots of things that has been put. When I left Flutterwave, my new COO asked me how would I describe my experience at Flutterwave, and I was like, I said, oh, I said Damola's album. Damola is Fireboy. I don't know. For some reason, I call Fireboy Damola. I don't know him personally, but I just call him. I call his name
Like
straight up.
you have him on speed dial.
Yeah, I just call his name straight up. So his first, his debut album is Laughter, Tears, and Goosebumps, right? And I was like, that's just how I'm going to just describe my experience with Flutterwave. It's been everything like a roller coaster. There's the times where you just because again you're building, right? So you put a lot of tears, blood into it, and some people don't understand this. Recently on my status, I was writing something to founders, and because some of my friends are building, we're trying to build out some things, and to my colleagues to like about the kind of stuff you need when you're building. Yes, we would like to say 9 to 5 work-life balance, but to be honest, when you're in that building stage, you find yourself doing a lot of murky hours, like 1 a.m. you're still working. And there's sometimes when you would not work for like some extended period, but your work-life balance is going to be really blurred that you're just working. And at that stage of time, it's fine for us to do that. But I see some young professionals now, and I don't have anything against them, but more like they just want to stick to, I come to work 9, drop my laptop 5, I'm gone. Don't call me, don't tell me anything about work. It's a nice thing to do, but at the end of the day, especially when you're working in a startup, it's not really going to help you because startup is just building, it's just starting. I liken startup to you having a baby, especially when you're part of the early guys in the startup, right? Or you found out you're close to them. Because with a baby can just wake up in the middle of the night and just crying. You can't really pinpoint why they're crying, but they're just crying. You just have to just like rock them, pat them. So with startups too, issues will just happen. And then you just need people that are ready to wake up 11 p.m. to just jump at it, right? I was telling Tofumi at some time, there was a time it's Flutterwave. On Salah day, like I was just preparing to go out to pray, and some major issue happened at Flutterwave, and then I just had to be there at the time. Right, like I carry my laptop and doing it. In fact, my earliest days when I first joined, there are times where I go to parties, I go on my laptop. I'm not encouraging it, but it's just part of sacrifices people tend to do. A lot of people now you see some people, you see them traveling and just chilled. They just start their career like that. It's something they built over time, and then they get to where they are. So you're trying to grow your career and build capacity and grow. You need to really invest in yourself and also be ready to just do this work and do this work. So I think for young professionals, that is going to be really, really important, right? Just there are a lot of think pieces going out there that, oh, you know what, you don't own the company as much. Yes, but at the end of the day, all of these things you're doing is not just for the company. Like I said, from my own experience, it's also really now helped me. It's for myself too. The knowledge I've garnered, if I didn't show capacity and ability to wanting to learn work, as fluttering with other teams, I wouldn't have been able to be placed to work where I was, right? Remember when Flutter was trying to even expand in Ghana, I was part of the Ghana team. I spent 9 months working out of there with the guys then. And so just because yes, capacity has been shown, like, okay, I think Kola could be able to help in this regard, able to model new stuff. Whether I was just, oh, my work is customer success, that what I'm just bothered about, or it's stamp, all I'm bothered about, it won't really help you. Now, at the end of the day, it's helped the company, yes. It's also helped me personally to have this knowledge and be well equipped and robust in looking at how things work. So yeah, that's my final add to young professionals.
No, thank you very much. And I completely agree. As someone who has worked at various startups now, you gotta sacrifice the time. I'm so sorry. Like it will not always be glamorous. You always, there'll always be time where you need to work extra hours and all
Yeah,
of that. Think about it for the company, but also for yourself. Your knowledge is compounding. Your ability to be able to be more agile is
yeah,
compounding. And so it
yeah.
does help you over time. But thank you so much for that wonderful ad. That's it, folks. I hope you found this episode useful. Thanks for tuning in and staying till the end. Let me know what you think in the comments and who you'd like to see next on the pod. Don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe wherever you're listening from and share with someone in your network who might find this useful. That's all for now. I'm Emmy, and I'll see you next time.